All right, welcome everyone in person and online. This is our last senior thesis presentation. Thank you so much for coming. We've had so many great presentations all this week. Really proud of each and every one of our students for all the hard work they did and how brave they were to all get up here and present, not only to a live audience, but an online audience. I think some of the presentations have already had over 50 views. So lots of people are watching you. So really so proud of you guys for getting up here and teaching us about some interesting things about our world. So Jessica Calderon's next.
I did my senior thesis on inhuman practices on factory farms and slaughterhouses. When people sit down at the table, they analyze the taste and quality, but people do not think about where their food comes from. Many of these animals are raised and slaughtered under humane conditions. Animals are subjected to filthy and harsh conditions at slaughterhouses. Almost 60 billion animals are killed every year throughout the world by humans. Animals are mistreated due to lack of laws and regulations, since this industry is focused on mass production and profit rather than developing a more humane way to manage the meatpacking business. Humans have hunted animals for survival for as long as recorded history, and the practice continues now. The primary purpose of an animal is to provide food, and animals were exchanged in marketplaces as the world civilization advanced. And the owner received money for the animal's value. This procedure is still happening today. Animals are sold for higher prices to businesses. The most effective way to reduce the cruelty is to educate yourself about where your meat comes from, and to support organic and family farms, which will eventually lead to a reduction in the number of animals that have to suffer. Disclaimer, there may be some graphic images and videos that may be triggering for some. If you're sensitive to this topic, feel free to look away. The history of animal slaughter started the year of 1662 in Springfield, Massachusetts, where a pig slaughterhouse was established by William Pinochet. Concerns started to arise soon after. During transportation, when they pack these animals to travel, they are left to starve. They have no water and zero comfort. Because these trucks are so crowded, animals are unable to rest and may trample or fight each other for space. Cows can fall on top of each other, which can cause suffocation, and chickens can not spread their wings. Pigs and cows' noses also touch the bars. Animals are packed and pressed together so close into vehicles that they cannot move and can barely breathe. Sometimes they panic so much and they have a heart attack, which leads them to death. Animals on trucks that are halted in lines or trapped in traffic, especially on asphalt in hot weather, are severely stressed and may even die as a result. Animals get agitated over the heat and stressed and may even die as well. The animals can also freeze to death, and they also can have a heat stroke. Pigs are in cages the size of them, and pregnant pigs cannot give birth comfortably and can crush their babies because there is no room, and they can usually not feed them, which is a slow, painful death for the baby piggies. Accidents happen during transportation, and in 2004, a transport truck owned by Smithfield Foods and loaded with 180 pigs flipped over in Virginia. Many pigs died in the accident, while others lay along the roadside injured and dying. PETA officials arrived on the scene and offered to humanely euthanize the injured animals, but Smithfield refused to allow the suffering animals a human death because the company could not legally sell the flesh of animals who have been euthanized. After an accident in April 2005, Smithfield spokesman Jerry Hoster told one of the reporters, "I hate to admit it, but it happens all the time." During loading and unloading, they use electrical prodding and other harsh handling methods to move the confused and terrified animals, which is an increase of harm because which is an increase of harm. These animals usually come with deep wounds and shattered limbs. Workers usually drag them out, causing them to break their bones, and sometimes if they break their bones, the workers do not want to handle these animals and leave them to die on the side. During the stage of pre-slaughter, animals have to be in good shape and in their health for slaughter to make good produce. Clean and healthy, which isn't accomplished due to transport. Chickens with poor feathers from the water poured onto them by themselves during transportation, which cause a sticky mess, and that isn't a good condition, causing them to do more harsh actions on them. These animals also have to be fasting, and they cannot eat or drink before they are killed. Before these animals are slaughtered, they use methods to prevent their negative behavior towards each other, which is teeth clipping to prevent biting, remove antlers from bulls, wing and feathers clipping to prevent hitting one another, removing bulls' genitals, toe clipping without any painkillers, and in this picture above shows the beak trimming on these chickens to prevent them from picking at each other without any painkillers as well. The animals are all conscious while they are slaughtered. They use electrical stunning, which is an electric charge that is passed through the animal's brain or heart to shock it. It causes an abrupt but not fatal widespread convulsion that results in unconsciousness and kills them. They also do the shooting method, which might not hit them in the right spot, which will cause the worker to continuously hit them while all conscious, and they can feel the captive bolt going through their head. They also go through decapitation, and their heads are cut off, which is a slow death because they bleed to death. Chickens are hung upside down with their legs clamped to metal shackles. They are thrown in electrical baths of water to stun them before slitting them in the throat, which is showing right here. And pigs are also boiled like the chickens.
Most meat chickens are killed at only 7 weeks of age. For layer hens, it can be closer to 18 months old, the average age at which they stop laying enough eggs to be profitable to the egg industry. To discuss how these chickens are killed, we need to understand the language that the animal agriculture industry uses. Processing is the term used to describe turning living animals into meat. Stunning refers to rendering animals unconscious before they are killed. Slaughterhouses use 2 main processes to kill chickens: electric stunning and gas chamber stunning. Electric stunning begins with the chickens arriving at the slaughterhouse packed in transport crates. Workers then shackle.
Pigs are also killed by carbon dioxide, CO2, which the smelly gas is unpleasant to the respiratory tract and causing them to stop breathing and suffocating, leading them to a slow death as well. Slaughterhouse workers have poor training and they are not educated. This job also takes a physical and mental toll on them. These workers are supposed to be picking up 1,000-pound cows, which they are not always able to do, which can cause them to, which can cause the workers to dragging them and throwing them. They also use dangerous equipment, and because of that, because of the poor training, they have poor knowledge. The facility also has really poor hygiene, and the smell is awful, and there is flesh everywhere. They also have to do a fast job because they have to do a certain amount in a certain amount of time, which they have to do their job fast and poorly. Because it is a heartless job, they are killing innocent animals. They get PTSD, social skills, and withdrawal. And many can't talk about what is happening in the industry because a lot of them are undocumented people. The hygiene And the facility is also very important to health. There is pollution, tons of animal waste, flesh everywhere, odors, and towns near them can smell it. And it can also get in our waterways, which is shown here. And these are all dead animals waste. The diets of these animals are awful. They have no food and no water, and because of that, they get no vitamins and protein and overall a good nutrition and health. These animals have visible ribs, concave longism muscle. There is also an overuse of antibiotics to keep them healthy in crowded conditions, helping them generate drug-resistant bacteria and from spreading infections to humans. They are also really dehydrated and causing them to collapse and get volumeric and osmotic, which is they cannot drink in the hot weather and they can get fluid loss, which is vomiting or diarrhea. Exercise is important to any living thing, and it is really important for milk production so they could have and develop muscle tissue. Their bone strength is also very poor, which causes blood clots from no exercise, and since the blood is not moving, and it can shift to being solid. Being physically unfit increases the risk of developing thrombosis during exercise or stress. Physical fitness helps to reduce the viscosity of the blood, and it helps to promote fibrillosis, which is the body's main clot dissolving mechanism. During exercise, there is an increase in hematocrit to allow greater oxygen transport by the blood. The blood is more viscous partly because the hematocrit is increased, and also because the red cells become more rigid and less deformable when they are exposed to adrenaline. The physical and emotional state of the animal is stressed, and the behavior is always scared and flighting, and they are very flightiness with the people because they are really scared of them. The aggression is due to fear, isolation, and sleep deprived on the uncomfortable floors. There is also emotional changes due to environment, social disturbances in handling, physical stress, food deprivation, and climate conditions, fatigue, and pain. In addition to the distress of not knowing where they are also seeing their own kind and other animals being killed in front of them. They hear their cries, and this all terribly frightens them. And it happens after a very harsh journey on the farms. It has no sound because it's pretty bad. Anomia is also, they also get anomia from the facility because it is really like disgusting in there. It is due to weight change and white blood cells. The bacteria is spreading from a poor immune system, and the facility is so intoxicated with the awful odors and diseases spread, which can cause death. Toxic buildup in internal tissues and the blood, very sick and pulmonary edema can cause fatal accumulation of the fluid in the lung, which can cause death and can result in tougher meat. These animals are also given antibiotics when they are sick, and so no human can catch diseases. 18 antimicrobial drugs are used for growth promotion in food animals. Each animal gets to be injected before they are killed, which is an overuse of antibiotics each year. They also have no money to go to the vet and get proper attention when they're sick. Because these animals do not have a healthy immune system, it can affect the meat, and real cows will have pale, tender meat. Farmers raise them on liquid diets in tiny stalls, and they cannot exercise, which can result in tough skin, dry, sticky meat, which is bad for production. It can also affect our bodies because we are also intaking what they did. Pigs are also treated in other inhumane ways. They are inseminated so they can have more pigs. They do not let them have any time they do not let them interact with their babies. They are taken too soon after 4 weeks, and they are shipped to a slaughterhouse as well. Inseminating the pigs after the birth as well is an inhuman way because they're not letting the pig's body relax. Inhuman standards would need a huge number of resources as well as a far higher supply cost. People will continue to eat meat for foreseeable future. Therefore, the establishment of human standards will ensure the animal to have a better life, which will cost more because the animals are being killed more humanely for the equipment, food, shelter, bedding, etc. But it is also a bigger opportunity for more production and less money. There's also better mechanisms to treat these animals and still kill them for production, which is free range. It is a wide field, which is a better opportunity for these animals to exercise and let their behaviors out while in a better mood. It is also an opportunity for chickens to gather their own food. Many farmers even use hay barrels or old farm equipment so they can climb and roost in their own behavior. These animals are also given a chance to be themselves in a healthier environment. Grass-fed cows are also fed soy, and it is less fat and fewer calories, and they are getting 6 times the amount of omega-3 fatty acids, 3 times more nutrients, and they need little to no antibiotics. When cows are fed corn and grain, they gain more weight, and it is greasier and less juicy meat, which is higher in inflammatory. In a free-range slaughter won't be as harsh, but it does cost more. A better diet is better meat, better production. There's also something called permaculture, and permaculture ties together land, resources, people, and the environment through mutually beneficial connections, zero waste, closed-loop systems found in nature. Permaculture researches and implements comprehensive solutions that can be used in both rural and urban settings at any size. Agriculture, water harvesting and energy, natural building, forestry, waste management, animal systems, appropriate technology, economics, and community development are all included in this environment. It is one of working with rather than against with nature. It is our own responsibility to return waste, and it is beneficial design. It can be added to all other ethical training and skills, and has the potential of taking place in all human endeavors. Permaculture offers positive solutions to properly manage these cycles, eliminate toxic chemicals, and create an abundance of food while regenerating land. Permaculture is a sustainable practice that creates beneficial relationships between human and living systems. Animals also enjoy working and providing valuable products such as eggs, milk, meat, cloth, and skin. A broad variety of beneficial animals is an important component of any permaculture system, as they may fill a variety of natural niches in a productive way.
What is a food forest? Well, we're all quite familiar with forests and forests as an ecosystem with great diversity of plants, animals, and fungi all harmonizing together and interreacting in many, many niches and layers designed by nature, maintained as a system in perfect balance. Well, imagine that as a system that produces food. The majority of the elements in that system being productive. That's a food forest. So by understanding how nature designs forest systems so they're self-maintaining, self-replicating, we can model that system with productive species so that we can produce food in the most sustainable way with the minimum amount of input for the maximum amount of output anywhere in the world. That's a food forest system that we can actually design and work with in long-term and permanent situations.
The Prevention of Cruelty of Animals Act, they also have lots of laws to prevent inhumane slaughters on the animals. They have violated nearly every regulation and rule imposed on their sector. Almost everything introduced to the Animal Cruelty Prevention Act in 1960 is being violated. The act makes it a crime to beat, kick, torture, mutilate, administer an injustice substance or cruelly kill an animal. It is also illegal to override, overdrive, overload, or works an unfit animal. It is an offense to cruelly transport, confine, chain, or tether an animal. It is a violation to engage in animal fighting or shooting competitions in which animals are released from captivity to be shot. An owner commits an offense if he or she fails to provide sufficient food, water, or shelter, unreasonably abandons any animal, or permits any diseased or disabled animal to roam or die in any street. Animals have to have space for transportation. There's also another law that called the gag, and the people have carefully examined and gathered evidence of documents of conditions in the factory farms, which is uncovered because they do not want the industry to be exposed. There are humane remedies to killing these animals, which are simply make them unconscious so they won't feel any pain. They should also be following the 5 freedom, which is the freedom from thirst, hunger, malnutrition, and appropriate comfort and shelter. They also have the freedom to prevent diagnosis, treatment of injury, diseases, or infestation with parasites. They should also have no distress and the ability to display formal patterns of behavior, along with all of these laws listed here. Animals have feelings too. In the industry, they are treated like machines when they are sensitive, emotional, and intelligent individuals. There are more humane things they can do to kill these animals. Like I said before, they can have them unconscious. My career plan is I would really like to be a labor and delivery nurse, and as you can see, I really would like those animals to be cared for and treated right, so I would want to do the same for my people, and step in as much as I can. And in this position, they help pregnant women throughout the birthing process and help the babies if they need more help, like sick babies, and do CPR, and providing care and support through delivery and the immediate postpartum period. A typical day for them is working with patients in their room and working with the babies in the patient's room as well. The educational and training requirements for this position is to at least get ADN, which is an associate degree, or a BSN, which is a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and get licensed by passing an RNCOB exam. The skills that you need to be in this position is to have minimal experience in the field in supporting the mother emotionally and physically, and monitoring the baby and the mother. The job outlook, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment in the hospitality industry is expected to grow 11% between today and 2028. And employment for the registered nurses is expected to grow at least 12% in the same time period. The annual salary is about $89,000, and the monthly pay would be around $7,500. I interviewed Jessica Saldana, and she is also a travel nurse in this position, and she explained to me that it depends where you travel and how often you travel, and she said she got paid $50 through $75 an hour. After high school, plans is to attend one of those 3 community colleges and pursue my major involving science and nursing. I would also like to transfer to one of these 2 4-year colleges to pursue getting my BSN. Like I said before, I interviewed Jessica Saldaña, who is a labor and delivery travel nurse, and told me everything I need to know and how to prepare because it is a really hard job and it's really hard to get in. And that's it.
Great job, Jessica. Since we do have another minute before the bell rings, does anyone have a question for Jess? I have a question for you, Jessica. You changed your career interest. What made you decide you want to be a labor and delivery nurse?
Well, to begin with, I wanted to do that, but I didn't find an interviewer, and I do still want to be a nutritionist, but I think I'm more, my attention grabbed more to labor and delivery. Yeah.
So they're both?
Yeah, both.
You know how you mentioned like how the animals are being all squished into the trucks? That's still happening, right?
Yeah, that's still happening today.
And there's no like laws or anything that says that they can't do that?
Yeah, the law that I mentioned, they said that they should be free and have comfort to move, but that is not being followed as well because they do not care about that industry and they do not want them to really find out.
So does anything happen if they don't follow that law?
No, because they don't care, you know? Like, there's videos out there of these people that hold signs against the trailers and everything, and they do not do anything. So, and they take videos of inside too, so there's literally nothing being held accountable for. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys.